What I'm about to say about Mark, I mean it in the most glowing terms. Mark was absolutely ordinary. The reason that we all gravitated towards Mark was not because he had any special skills as a hockey player. He wasn't the fastest skater on the team. He didn't have the best shot. The reason everyone gravitated towards him is because everything that you're supposed to be as a human being, these ordinary traits and attributes, he did all those things at an extraordinary level.
When we start with the acronym, we start with C, and the C stands for character, and then R for respect, O for optimism, S for sacrifice, and S for selflessness.
Before I came to York and before I was on the team, I saw MC18 all over the place, and I really wasn't sure what it was, right? And then I remember we had a retreat at the beginning of the year, and we all shared a story about our families and what pillar of the acronym stood out the most for us.
One trait on the cross acronym that really stands out to me is optimism. I was fortunate enough to know Mark and actually spend a season with him. It's a little bit different than being a teammate, as his position was a coach. For me, I was dealt with lots of things at a young age that built resilience in me as a child. I had coaches tell me I should quit hockey. I was cut from teams for my diabetes. I remember first time I met him, actually, I was just recovering from pneumonia. I was like, hey, how's it going? Welcome aboard. So happy to have you on the team. Looking forward to a great year. And like right there, I just set the tone for the year. Just his upbeat attitude and the zest he brought to everything he did was something that I'll remember forever.
I take two big parts away from that. I like the C and the R, and I think I embody them pretty well. Sometimes it does get tough, right? You know, not everyone has perfect days, and you know, a big thing for me, I have a sister that has mild autism. So for me, when I have a bad day or I'm feeling bad about a losing streak or something, I can come home, you know, and she's right there, and she'll, hey Sal, how was your day? And give me like a big smile. So for her, like for me, I get more out of the relationship with her than she gets out of our relationship, I'm sure. But the days do get brighter. You just have to put your foot down. You got to be resilient, and you got to put your work in. And ultimately, you get out what you do put in.
One that's always stood out to me in particular is sacrifice. I just remember playing hockey is something that I always wanted to do. And my dad lost his father at a young age. He had it kind of tough growing up. So I remember when I was a kid, like he had always been working two jobs for my sister and I to be engaged in extracurricular activities. And I just remember like him coming home tired and letting us know that like he'd be doing these things for us. My mom made a ton of sacrifices too. Like my sister was really young, and she'd be dragging us out to my hockey practice at like 7:30 in the morning across the city. So sacrifice is just something that's always stood out to me.
So the cross acronym is, I think, the most important thing for our culture. I want to come into this place. I think almost every player wants to come into our team and leave it in a better spot when they leave. And I think if we all demonstrate the cross acronym, character, respect, optimism, sacrifice, and selflessness day in and day out, this program will be the best program in the country, not just developing players, but developing people.
What I'd want other people to take away from the Memorial Day is just kind of awareness and understanding the values that we embody ourselves by in our program, right? They can hopefully get an understanding of that, and maybe they can embody those pillars as well.
If one person can take away something that we take very seriously and something that we, you know, use as a foundational point for our program, then I think the day becomes a success.
These are things that everyone can apply in their life. These are traits that a person in their 50s can apply in their life, or a person who's 13 can apply in their life. You don't have to have any superpowers to be these 5 different traits. It just requires you to put in the work on yourself.
The one thing that I think is very important is that certainly in the hockey community, there's 16 people whose memories need to live on and whose stories need to be told. We only knew Mark, so we can only tell Mark's story. But my belief is if we continue to tell Mark's story, then that keeps not only Mark's story alive, it keeps the other 15 Broncos stories alive as well.